Economic development in the town of Fort Erie, or any municipality for that matter, is vitally important. We all know that, and we all recognize that. And when I say any municipality, there are those municipalities out there today within the ag region that are structured differently than is currently structured in the town of Fort Erie in terms of how they go forward with economic development. I don't see, nor has it been demonstrated to me, that those municipalities that are structured differently are doing any better or are doing any worse than those municipalities that are structured in the same way that we are. Niagara Falls is an example. St. Catharines is another example. Those are two municipalities larger than we are that I believe have separate economic development initiatives. Port Colborne, smaller community than ours, is structured differently than we are from the standpoint of economic development. I asked a number of the delegates that came forward as to whether or not they felt that it was important for a municipality to have a focus on economic development. Despite what the naysayers or despite what some of the other people out here may say, I do have a focus on economic development. That's why I take the initiative to go out and go on the Niagara Gateway and start to learn, get engaged in the Niagara Gateway. Because it is so vitally important to this community, because we are a gateway zone. Unfortunately, at that committee level, at the regional level, we don't have representation that sits as a voting member on that committee. Therefore, I take it upon myself to get engaged, because it's important. So I do understand the importance of economic development. That's why I sat on the board of the Economic Development and Tourism Corporation, is because I did feel important enough to move forward with some form of strategy on economic development in Fort Erie. You know, I look at the report here, and it talks to the memorandum of agreement, I should say. Although it does, I think, mention MOU. It's a memorandum of agreement. And it talks from the standpoint that there are opportunities, if you read through the report, there are opportunities for us to take a look at that agreement and perhaps put better structure to it. And I refer specifically with regards to the area that it talks to in terms of the termination provisions. In that it says clearly that the termination provisions are poorly drafted and that they are coming from the original documents that were brought forward back in 1994 and 1996 agreements. Here we are in 2011 going into 2012. We should be looking at this agreement again and saying, how can we better make it work for both parties? That's the desire of this council. So, you know, I've gone through the report, I've looked at it, I've gone through and I've tried to draw comparisons in terms of communities that have economic development corporations and those that don't. The ones that don't, are they all of a sudden folding the tents and saying we don't want economic development? Or that they don't have a focus on economic development? And that they don't have their business leaders coming forward and saying, I want you to work with me to try and help me, whether it be job retention or job creation? I don't think so. I think they do work that way. So, I'll leave it up to the rest of the council to comment, but those are my thoughts.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Martin. Just a couple of questions I have regarding page 73 of 82 in our package. The Libraries and Consortium. It says here the council is reminded that the EDTC is a member, a fundamental element of the Fort Erie Libraries and Consortium. And I'm wondering if somebody could explain to me this membership that they have. Because I was under the understanding last year when a certain member of council wasn't invited to a luncheon, and she was told that the Fort Erie Library Consortium.
Councilor Lewis. Ask the question with no comments.
Are you kidding me?
I'm asking how we are a member of the Fort Erie Library
Correct.
Consortium.
We'd be glad to answer that question, Councilor Lewis. Mr. Tripp or Ms. Salter, whoever wants to take it. Salter.
Your worship and councilor, the EDTC is a member of the corporation. The town of Fort Erie is not.
Anything further, Councilor Lewis?
So the EDTC is run by the town of Fort Erie, and we fund it, right? And it's,
Councilor Lewis, no, the EDTC is not run by the town of Fort Erie. It's a
We
standalone
fund it.
corporation. We fund it.
we fund the EDTC, and the EDTC is a member of the Library Consortium.
That's correct.
All right, thank you very much. Another question I have too is on page 72 of the report, or 72 of 82.